Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. Well, that didn't take too long, did it? Just a few days after that other video I posted, or I had posted at least, we now have a blue post reply, and 2 of them at that. Great. Awesome to see that Blizzard are taking a step up to talk about this and address the issue. Let's have a look at both of these posts recently and see what they have to say. First post, okay, here we go. Let's have a skim through it and see what's being said. Botting is explicitly against the ULA. Okay, yes, how can we help Blizzard get rid of bots? I'm not entirely sure that that is the question being asked of Blizzard regarding botting, but okay. Please continue to report them and thanks for doing so. Right-clicking and reporting a player for cheating is the best way you can participate in our speedily removing of bot accounts. This is the best way? Please continue to send us your reports as much as possible. Okay, wow. Well then, positives first. I'd like to say something is better than nothing, but this leaves a lot to be desired. Okay, that's the positives done. Now for the rest of the video. I'm not sure the question is so much what can players do to help, but is more what's Blizzard doing to stop bots. Though if this is all the players can do, I can actually kind of understand that. You may even think, why should I have to put my time and effort into helping eradicate bots when I am already paying to be able to play? And yeah, there's no reason why you should have to really, but typically in pretty much any game I have ever involved myself heavily in, players are always very keen to help out. People who log in near every day are quite invested and normally want to see the game do as well as it possibly can, and that means understanding that bots need to go. Time to draw upon old school RuneScape again for a comparison. I keep defaulting back to it as they seem to do a lot good over there. Maybe there's something in that. Anyways, in OSRS they have player moderators. These are people who have been nominated to gain additional powers through repeatedly showing themselves to be a positive member of the community. They're usually elevated this position, resulting from doing a whole lot of reporting themselves. Their reports are more weighty than the average players, and they have the power to temporarily mute people for a short period of time. Now, as with anything, sometimes you get people who slip through the net and abuse this system pretty heavily, but they're usually publicly outed on the subreddit so fast and get demodded or banned themselves that it's not generally much of an issue. But this gives players who are super keen an extra way to help out. Now, I don't think this approach would necessarily work in World of Warcraft. See, in old school RuneScape there are so many more spam bots advertising gold selling sites in hotspot locations. On top of this, OSRS doesn't have servers, it has worlds, and worlds are kind of like each their own individual layer, but you can freely choose to hop between them, and there's hundreds of them as well. When gold sellers or spam bots message you in WoW, it's always a whisper in some kind of broken English. Why is it always in broken English? Come on guys, it's 2020. How are you still getting it grammatically incorrect? In old school RuneScape, mods can easily clear out a world of spam bots in no time at all. In WoW, they aren't quite so publicly noticeable. That's why I don't think player mods would really do anything, and that I can actually get the reports are all we can do as a player. Still, I think this reply has skirted around the question of what are Blizzard doing to stop bots in favour of this different question. So that's blue post number 1. Blue post number 2 now. I bet this is the one you wanted to hear about, right? Here we go then. Let's have a skim through this, similar to the first post. As part of our ongoing efforts to eliminate exploitative and automated gameplay, blah blah blah, you may now enter a maximum of 30 unique instances dungeon and raid per day per realm. Now, when a player enters a dungeon or raid, the game checks to see if they have entered 5 instances in the last hour, or 30 instances in the last 24 hours. If they have, they cannot enter the instance until enough time has elapsed. The check is across all of your characters on your realm. Oh boy. Okay, key points to take away from this. 30 unique instances per day per realm over the last 24 hours. Not reset at some point at midnight or early morning, over the last 24 hours. This is pretty much an extension of the current 5 lockouts per hour maximum system, so will also count for all characters on your realm. Okay then, right, positives first. Will bots be affected? Short-term answer is yes. Operations where characters were hitting the 5 instance per hour cutoff will effectively be locked after having been operational for 6 hours total. Note, however, that this is per realm, and botters already will have many accounts across a number of different realms, so they just need to realm swap on that account and run a different botting team for 6 hours. Repeat this with 2 more teams and you can still run one account for 24 hours a day. This does, however, need the botter to level and gear 15 more characters per account in order to continue at the pace that they may have been going at the moment. That would have been 3 additional accounts worth of time investment previously. This gives Mr. Botter a choice. Do I go all in on 20 characters across 4 servers for one account? If it's banned, that's a lot of extra time investment. Or do I buy another 3 subs via WoW tokens to match my current output? And if many botters are using WoW tokens, as I expect they are, I think sales are about to go up considerably. Keep in mind that WoW tokens, though bought with in-game gold by botters, initially come from real life money from normal players, so that's looking like a net win for Blizzard over the long term. Also, back when I was doing my first ever video on botting and I was looking at the bots in strat, they hearthstoned after each run. So if that's any indicator of the botting standard there, then they won't even be affected by this. Like, not at all. But wait, Blizzard actually limited dungeon lockouts in vanilla, you know. Check out this post from 1.11. Each character on a player's account may enter the same dungeon up to 3 times per day, and may visit a total of 5 dungeons over the course of a 24-hour period. Keep in mind, each character on your account is flagged separately, so with 8 characters, that's a total of 40 dungeon runs per day. See? No changes, right? This is great, just like it was back in the day. I'm joking, by the way. This was literally an April Fool's joke in vanilla. So was putting every ability on GCD and Pandaren. But I digress. So far, not so good. But wait, there's more. So you can run a maximum of 5 unique instances per hour, and then you're locked out for a short period of time. So to hit 30 instance runs in a day, that's exactly 6 hours played maximum. You may think, okay, what's the problem? Look, if people are playing 6 hours a day, maybe they do need a little break. The thing is, an instance lockout doesn't have to be the arbitrary 12 minutes and a few seconds that gives us the perfect near 5 lockouts per hour. I can run into a dungeon, run out, reset, that's 1 lockout gone, repeat, that's 2 lockouts. I can do that in about 30 seconds. And many players do activities that don't need the full 12 minutes per dungeon run. Boosting or getting boosted in Stockades or Scarlet Monastery, Druid's farming Manual Crowd Pummeler, which is a best in slot item for feral DPS, Lasher runs in Dire Maul East, the Dog runs in Dire Maul North, Blade of Eternal Darkness runs in Maradon, Hand of Justice farming, Savage Gladiators Chains farming. All of these are about 5 minutes or so per reset. Even with that in mind, you would still need to play at least 3 hours a day to hit the total lockout cap here, right? That's still quite a bit. Actually, no, that's not right. This is based off the wording here, but it says last 24 hours. This is possibly the worst part about this update in my opinion, because it's going to be so easy to accidentally hit the instance cap, even if you don't play a large amount. Here's my example scenario. You log in at 8 PM on a Thursday and play until around 11 PM, during which time you complete 15 instance lockouts. This is the maximum possible for that time period, even if you are not constantly farming for all of the 3 hours. Next day, Friday, you get off work nice and early and can log in at 3 PM and think, awesome, I'm going to get some gold farming done before raid tonight. From 3 to 6 PM, you complete another 15 instance lockouts. In your mind, you've done 15 yesterday and 15 today, so there's no way you're going to be risking getting locked out of raid. Unfortunately, the current system is based off resets in the past 24 hours, and you started at 8 PM yesterday, so when you try and walk in Blackwing Lair at 7 PM, it says, no instances are currently available, come back in 1 hour. You've just locked yourself out of your raid for 1 hour, despite only potentially having played a total of 3 hours over the past 2 days, especially if you're doing 5 min reset activities, and it could be even less than that. This is a big problem. If this system is what we're getting, it needs a daily reset, not to check the past 24 hours. If it resets daily, it also doesn't impact any effect it has on bots if we're using it to combat them being able to run 24/7 on one realm. I don't know how this will work on the 1.12 client, but something like the heroic reset in TBC, which as far as I know was about 9 AM server time, and maybe it was different back then, but something like that could be implemented. With the current system, it's going to be far easier than you think to get accidentally locked. On top of this, I suggest some kind of counter on the social tab where your current lockouts are, showing where you are up to, though I have no doubt there will be some kind of add-on or weak aura that already does this by the time this video's out. Want to know something else you might not thought of? How many instances do you go to on raid day, or perhaps even the day before? Dire Maul Tribute, that's 1, Blackwing Lair, 2, Molten Core, 3, ZG, 4, Onyxia, 5, and that's even before we consider the new raids with AQ coming out, though I don't think many people are going to be doing all of these in a day, let's be real, but you're going to have to think about being careful doing that alt ZG, or running your leveling character through dead mines if you've also been boosting the day before. I think this has more potential to impede players just wanting to play the game over the long term than it does for stopping the spread of bots over the long term. The question remains, what is Blizzard doing to stop botting? Player reports seem to be falling on deaf ears, and if that's all we can do, which I can accept, but it's with this system that we've currently reached where we're at the moment. So based off of this, I'm assuming Blizzard are saying, dealing with bots is entirely on our shoulders. The instance limiting will also introduce limiting factors for regular players, whilst only making botting more inconvenient and time intensive to set up. There is still no step to actually take action that stops people from running bots consistently or introducing dozens and dozens of new accounts into the game daily. We need hack detection, GMs working alongside player reports, additional community support through the social media channels. We need to take out botting at the roots, not just trim the leaves when it starts getting ugly, because this will be worked around very shortly. In fact, it's probably going to make people running bots fire up even more accounts if that ends up being the most viable option for them to continue. I would love to be able to make more videos where I can say good things, really. The Lotus changes just not so long ago were a good example. Well done there, Blizzard. That's basically what I thought needed to happen. I'm continuing to monitor Lotus, of course, but it's a step in the right direction regardless. And here I'd like to be able to say I'm glad Blizzard are taking some action and providing communication. But what they've done here feels so barren and meaningless, as if it were a message just to try and placate players, as if they think we're so naive as to not have a good grasp on what makes botting so prevalent and harmful to classic WoW, when all it's done is the complete opposite with how tone deaf it is to ask players to just keep reporting, or their failure to act on systems that actually hamper botters' ability to operate, rather than just make their life a bit more inconvenient. This isn't the road that takes us to remediating the ever-growing virus in our game, it's one that takes us even further to a dire diagnosis. Blizzard, please start taking this seriously, or players will seriously consider their continuation in playing this game. Let me know below what you guys are thinking. I do hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. If you like what you see, give the video a like and subscribe, as there'll be plenty more to come. Take care guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.